What's happening, Expeditioners? It's Peter here. I'm usually not one to rant. That's not true. I love ranting about things. But like I said, in finance, there are so many things that some people rail against, and you don't really need to because it may be a product that doesn't fit 9 out of 10 people, but might be perfect for one person. So I try to stay pretty objective and neutral to things. But I wanted to share with you a post, and this one is about Google. I'll put it up on the screen here and just kind of talk through it. And what this post says, I actually looked this up and tried to verify it, and it looks like it's legitimate, but obviously I have no way of telling you for sure that it's true, but it's probably legitimate. But it says, when a Google employee dies, their spouses receive half pay from the company for 10 years, and their children receive $1,000 per month until they turn 19. So that seems pretty well and good, and I get when people put together a post like this, or maybe it's even pushed or nudged by Google or warmly embraced when it gets shared, it makes the company look good. But one of the things that I wanted to point out here is that when a Google employee dies, their spouses receive half pay for the company for 10 years. Okay, so this actually is kind of dumb to me. Not the fact that the company is paying money, but they really shouldn't. So let me just use some numbers as an example here, and this is not to say this is average or anything like that, but let's say you work at Google. You make $100,000 a year and you pass away, and your spouse gets half your salary, $50,000 for 10 years. That would be $500,000 in total, $50,000 a year for 10 years. So to me, that is still not fully insuring probably what you need. If you are making $100,000 and you have a spouse and minor children, you probably need $1 million or more. I wouldn't be surprised if you need 1.2 to 1.5, maybe up to 2, depending on what your obligations are. So that's still not really being fully insured in my book. The other thing is, I worked for some big companies that don't do social media posts about what their coverage is, but they provide group life insurance. And so if you do pass, you get some money. And in my most recent case, you got 2x of your annual salary. So if you were making $100,000 and you died, you would get not $50,000 next year, you would get $200,000 right now. And in some ways, you could say that's maybe even more beneficial because you could pay off a mortgage or a car or pay for some college bills and not wait for the rest of the money to come years later. So in many cases, having 1 or 2x your salary as a life insurance benefit from a company is pretty good. So the other thing is I actually added on some additional life insurance. So for $8 per pay period, I could add on another $1 million of life insurance. So that was $16 a month, getting paid twice a month. But for $16 a month, now technically I was getting probably $1.2 million of life insurance coverage. So what I'm saying here is that while this seems like a great thing and very generous from the company, it's actually not a lot of money. It's not a lot of coverage. And secondly, to me, Google shouldn't be paying this out. Google should be offering a group life insurance policy so that the insurance company is paying it out, and they are paying it out up front so that the person, the beneficiary, the survivor, the dependent can decide what they want to do with it. The children receiving $1,000 per month until they turn 19 is also a nice benefit, but $1,000 per month per child isn't necessarily going to go a long, long way, but you could certainly build that into a life insurance policy. I'm certainly not saying that a company that is making any type of funds available to a deceased employee isn't a great move. I mean, it's certainly a good move. One, Google certainly doesn't have to do it. I'm not sure if they are doing it specifically or they've moved the risk onto an insurance company to do that, but it actually seems a little bit under what you need. And many other companies do a similar thing, maybe not to exactly the same extent, but usually more front-loaded. So while I know a lot of people see this and say, hey, Google's a great company for doing that, it's not that different from a lot of other companies. And in my opinion, Google could be doing it a little bit better. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's a nice post. I'm glad companies are doing it, but there are probably better ways to do it, in my opinion. So hopefully that helps. I'll see you later.